If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns find themselves at a pivotal crossroads heading into the 2025 NFL season, with their wide receiver room looking dangerously thin beyond Jerry Jeudy. While they did manage to sign Deontay Johnson in free agency, his inconsistencies and the fact that he played for 3 different teams last year raised serious questions about his reliability. Enter Jauan Jennings, a physical, talented wideout currently caught in a contract deadlock with the San Francisco 49ers. Jennings wants to get paid after a breakout 2024 season that saw him snag 77 catches for 975 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's earned it, but the 49ers are in a financial bind, and extending Jennings might not be realistic for them. With just 1 year left on his deal and a modest $7.5 million due in 2025, Jennings has become a potential steal on the trade market. And if Cleveland is serious about competing, they have to be on the phone right now. Let's not sugarcoat it. Cleveland desperately needs another weapon. Jeudy is a strong route runner with solid hands, but he isn't enough to carry the passing game alone, especially if the Browns are handing the keys of the offense to a rookie quarterback midway through the season. You can't expect a young signal caller to succeed without reliable targets, and right now the Browns simply don't have enough of those. That's where Jennings fits in like a glove. At 6'3" and 215 pounds, he's got the size, toughness, and red zone ability that Cleveland's offense is sorely lacking. He's the kind of guy who goes across the middle and makes those tough catches that keep drives alive and demoralize defenses. And he brings energy, swagger, attitude, the kind of qualities that define playoff caliber teams. It's hard to understand how Cleveland could ignore this opportunity. San Francisco, meanwhile, may not be in a position to play hardball. They've got a bloated payroll and several stars already eating up cap space. Between their commitment to Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and that suffocating defense, there's not a lot of room left to maneuver. Jennings, for all his value, is still viewed as a secondary option in that offense. And that's the key here. The 49ers can afford to move him because of their depth, and the Browns can't afford to pass on a guy with his upside. Sure, it's only been one breakout season, but in the NFL, that's often all it takes for a guy to show he's ready to take the next step. The Browns wouldn't be paying top dollar, and the risk is manageable. The upside, on the other hand, could be franchise-changing. Let's talk money. Jennings' $7.5 million salary in 2025 is an absolute bargain when you compare it to what other receivers of his caliber are making. That number becomes even more attractive when you factor in the rising salary cap. Cleveland still has cap flexibility, and even if they're planning ahead for big contracts down the line, this deal wouldn't derail any long-term plans. It's a plug-and-play move that solves a major issue instantly. The Browns have seen what happens when you go into a season thin at receiver. Injuries pile up, quarterbacks struggle, and the offense stagnates. One injury to Jeudy and this entire passing game could implode. Jennings doesn't just add depth, he gives them another legitimate starter. It's the kind of strategic, proactive trade that playoff teams make before the season, not during desperation mode in October. Now, let's examine the football fit. Jennings is a physical possession receiver who thrives on third downs and in the red zone. He brings a different flavor compared to Jeudy, who wins with finesse and quickness. Together, they'd form a balanced duo capable of stretching defenses horizontally and vertically. Jennings isn't a burner, but his route running has improved every year, and he has a knack for finding soft spots in coverage. He's a quarterback's best friend, reliable, fearless, and always fighting for extra yards. That's a priceless quality, especially for a team that may rely on a rookie QB. You want a guy who makes contested catches in traffic, who brings energy to the huddle, and who holds defenders accountable. Jennings does all that and more, and he would immediately become a favorite target in Cleveland's system. And let's not forget the psychological boost that comes with acquiring a proven playmaker. The Browns locker room would get a jolt of confidence, knowing the front office is committed to giving them a real shot. This isn't just about numbers. It's about culture. It's about sending a message that average isn't good enough, that you're not content with just hoping. Guys develop. You're going out and getting someone who's already shown he can produce on the big stage. Jennings has made clutch plays for the 49ers in critical moments, including in the playoffs. That kind of experience matters. It rubs off on younger players. It builds belief. And let's face it, Cleveland's had more than its fair share of letdowns. Adding Jennings would signal a shift in mindset from reactive to aggressive. The trade cost? Honestly, it shouldn't be sky high. Jennings has only 1 year left on his deal, and while he's coming off a great season, he's not yet considered a top 10 receiver league-wide. A mid-round draft pick, maybe a 4th or 5th rounder, plus a conditional pick based on performance? That's more than fair. The Browns wouldn't be mortgaged in the future, and they could always work on an extension if things go well. In fact, this could turn into a long-term partnership if Jennings continues to evolve. And that's the beautiful part. It's a low-risk, high-reward scenario. These are the moves that often separate playoff teams from the rest. Teams that wait usually miss out. Teams that act now get the advantage. It's time for Cleveland to act. Of course, there's always some risk. Maybe Jennings regresses. Maybe the chemistry with the quarterback isn't there. But let's not pretend that standing pat is the safer option. The Browns' current receiving core isn't good enough, and everyone knows it. They didn't draft a receiver this year, and that's already a head-scratcher. Betting on development from unproven guys is a dangerous game in a league that punishes hesitation. Jennings gives you a known quantity, a player who can move the chains and find the end zone, someone who's played in big games, faced elite corners, and still produced. Cleveland needs that experience. They need that edge. If they're serious about winning, about taking that next step, they'll find a way to bring Jennings to town before someone else does. Let's also think about what this means for the AFC North. This division is a dogfight. The Bengals have Joe Burrow. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson. The Steelers, as always, are lurking with physicality and discipline. If you're the Browns, you can't afford to fall behind. Every edge counts. Every roster move matters. Adding Jennings doesn't just help your offense, it forces opposing defenses to adjust. It forces them to account for another weapon, another physical mismatch, and that opens things up for everyone else. Tight ends, running backs, the quarterback. It adds layers to the offense that simply don't exist right now. In a division this competitive, standing still is falling behind. Jennings gives you momentum. He gives you firepower. He gives you a reason to believe that this year could actually be different. Bottom line, this move makes too much sense for Cleveland to ignore. It fills a glaring hole. It brings in a hungry, motivated player with something to prove. It's financially responsible. It's football smart. It's culturally impactful. The stars are aligned, and opportunities like this don't come around often. Jawan Jennings wants a fresh start or a new contract. The 49ers might not be able to give him either. The Browns, on the other hand, can offer both and get a potential game changer in return. If Andrew Berry and the front office are paying attention, the next call they make should be to San Francisco. Get it done before someone else does. Because if the Browns are serious about winning this year, they can't afford to let Jawan Jennings slip through their fingers. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers, and if the latest reports are even remotely true, we might be on the brink of one of the most unexpected quarterback moves in recent memory. Rumor has it that the Cleveland Browns have quietly traded Joe FLACCO in a highly secretive deal that no major outlet has yet confirmed, but the signs are starting to emerge. FLACCO, who became a cult hero in Cleveland last season after stepping in and leading the Browns to the playoffs, was expected to return as a reliable backup, possibly even as a mentor figure to Deshaun Watson. Yet multiple sources close to the organization are now suggesting that FLACCO may have been moved in an under-the-radar transaction that could change the quarterback landscape for at least one NFL franchise. As details start to trickle out, fans are left questioning the logic, the motive, and most of all, the destination. What makes this rumor even more explosive is the total silence from both FLACCO's camp and the Browns front office. In an age of instant information where every transaction hits social media within seconds, this radio silence is raising eyebrows. No press releases, no tweets, not even a subtle hint from Flacco himself, who has been notably quiet on all platforms for several days. Insiders have noted that the Browns have canceled 2 recent media availabilities, which might be linked to the team trying to control the narrative before this bombshell goes public. It's this unusual lack of communication that's fueling speculation. Could it be that the Browns are deliberately keeping this under wraps until all the pieces are in place? Is there a larger move in the works that they're waiting to announce in tandem? Whatever the case, this silence is speaking louder than words. Let's talk motive. The Browns, coming off a turbulent yet promising season, have publicly supported Deshaun Watson as their franchise quarterback. But Flacco's late season heroics last year complicated that dynamic. Some fans were openly calling for Flacco to remain as a potential starter, or at least a serious competition. Could it be that the Browns saw this as a distraction, or even a potential locker room issue? Trading Flacco under the radar would remove any doubt about who's in charge while avoiding a media circus. Additionally, Flacco's performance may have made him more valuable than people think. With quarterback injuries being more common than ever, several teams might have made quiet inquiries. The Browns could have capitalized on that demand without drawing too much attention, especially if they didn't want a fan backlash. So where could Flacco have gone? That's the million-dollar question. A few names are floating around. The Raiders, still trying to find their identity post-Derek Carr, are rumored to be interested. Then there's the Patriots, who are desperate for a steady veteran while they rebuild under Jared Mayo. Don't count out the Falcons either, who still haven't found consistency at the quarterback position. All 3 teams would benefit immensely from someone like Flacco, a seasoned pro who can step in, command respect, and deliver wins when needed. A clandestine trade to any of these franchises would make perfect sense, especially if it came with a minimal price tag. Imagine the strategic advantage of bringing in a playoff caliber quarterback without alerting the rest of the league until it's too late. This kind of secrecy isn't unprecedented in the NFL. Remember the Sam Bradford trade in 2016, or the way the Chiefs quietly prepared to move on from Alex Smith? Teams often prefer to work in the shadows when a deal could disrupt chemistry or stir controversy. The Browns' potential move with Flacco might be another one of those calculated risks, designed to keep the media storm at bay until they're ready to take control of the message. It's a smart, if not controversial, tactic. After all, Flacco's not just any journeyman quarterback. He's a Super Bowl MVP with the poise and pedigree that makes him an instant factor in any locker room. You don't just trade a guy like that without some level of strategic planning and media management. Another interesting wrinkle, Flacco had reportedly been spotted at a private airport in Ohio just days ago, boarding a jet with no Browns personnel in sight. At the time, it seemed like a personal trip, maybe a vacation, maybe visiting family. But in hindsight, that could have been the moment the trade went down. A discreet departure, a handshake agreement, and a new chapter beginning behind closed doors. Fans who follow flight trackers and private jet logs have started piecing together some curious activity, connecting the dots between Flacco's potential whereabouts and teams in need of a quarterback. While nothing is confirmed, the breadcrumbs are there for those willing to follow them. If this turns out to be true, we might be witnessing one of the smoothest stealth trades in recent NFL memory. What's even more shocking is the lack of leaks. In today's NFL, even the smallest moves are leaked to beat reporters within minutes. Yet this supposed Flacco deal? Not a peep. That suggests a very tight circle, possibly only involving top-level executives and Flacco's agent. It also implies that the receiving team may have a lot at stake. Perhaps a quarterback injury that hasn't been made public yet, or a shift in direction that they want to unveil on their own terms. This kind of coordination doesn't happen unless both teams have a lot to gain from secrecy. Which brings us back to the Browns. What are they really gaining here? Cap space? Clarity? Or simply the chance to move forward without the shadow of a veteran backup looming over that $230 million starter? Fans in Cleveland are divided. Some are furious at the idea of losing the quarterback who saved their season. Others understand the business side, especially if Flacco himself wanted a better shot at playing time. After all, he's nearing the twilight of his career and surely wants one more real chance to lead a team. If this deal gives him that, then perhaps both sides walk away happy. But the secrecy still stings. Browns fans are passionate, loyal, and deeply invested in every move their team makes. Being left in the dark, especially after such an emotional postseason ride, feels like a betrayal to some. But maybe the Browns know that once the full story comes out, the logic will become crystal clear. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco's social media accounts have been oddly inactive, further adding fuel to the fire. Not even a Father's Day post, no photos, no interactions. That's not typical for a player coming off such a celebrated return to relevance. Normally we'd see interviews, commercials, maybe even a podcast appearance. Instead, nothing. Just silence. Could it be that he's in the middle of relocating, meeting with a new coaching staff, getting fitted for a new jersey behind the scenes? It's pure speculation, yes. But in the world of NFL rumors, sometimes that's all you need to spark a wildfire. And this one is starting to spread faster than most expected, with fans and insiders alike hunting for confirmation. At the end of the day, whether or not the Browns have truly moved Joe Flacco in a secret trade remains to be seen. But the possibility alone is enough to send shockwaves through the league. It forces us to consider what's happening behind the curtain in Cleveland and what this means for both Flacco's future and the Browns' long-term plans. It also raises bigger questions about how NFL teams operate, how they control narratives, and how little we sometimes actually know until the smoke clears. For now, all we have is rumor, speculation, and a trail of signs pointing to a deal that could change everything. But if history has taught us anything, it's this. In the NFL, where there's smoke, there's almost always fire. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!